The top 5 Darkside territory battles Zetas, and that's courtesy of good old Maurice and the Alliance. So good old Maurice, I'm going to go ahead and pass it over to you. We'll kind of go over each of the top 5 Zetas and why they're the best Zetas to be used in Darkside territory battles. So go ahead.
All right. And as he said, this is just a Zeta list for the Darkside territory battles. These Zetas aren't going to necessarily be good for arena or raid or any other aspect of the game. All right, let's see what we got here. All right, I think we got an honorable mention first, correct?
No, our honorable mention will be last.
Our honorable mention will be last. Okay. Number 5 is going to be Darth Maul. His leadership ability is a way to make your Sith teams viable. I personally don't think the Nihilist lead in territory battles is very good because they're not critting, and those rebel pilots are healing way too quickly, and you just can't ever get through it. But Darth Maul, just taking the territory battles, lots of stealth, lots of evasion, and obviously the turn meter ball can get him going.
Yeah, I mean, his leader ability is really essential because whenever you're talking about a leader ability as a Zeta, it doesn't just help one character. For example, let's say you're doing, I don't know, for example, a Kylo Ren Zeta. A Kylo Ren Zeta really helps Kylo Ren and makes him a viable option for any team. But a Darth Maul Zeta instantly makes, Darth Nihilus better, instantly makes Darth Sidious a viable option, also makes Savage Opress, Sith Assassin, Sith Trooper. All these characters now become viable options behind a Darth Maul Zeta. So now you instantly make 5 characters better with one Zeta instead of only making 1 character better with 1 Zeta. So Darth Maul Zeta is definitely a great addition for Darkside territory battles because now, if you have a decently geared up Sith team, that Darth Maul Zeta now makes that team a meta team, and it gives you the ability to, clear, one set of waves in Darkside territory battles for sure. But the next one is number 4, and
all right, no.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. It's your show.
All right, number 4. We're gonna go with Talzin's unique ability, not the leadership ability, but it gives turn meter every time an enemy goes below a certain percentage of health. And when you're using a Night Sister comp, she's got plague spread everywhere. You're going to have the plague just constantly ripping characters down, the rebels down below 50%. And rebels, as I mentioned, honestly, they just cleanse themselves constantly and keep healing themselves, and so they'll go up and down with all the plagues, and the plague just eventually wipes them out. This is a fantastic Zeta. It's not going to be very feasible in anyone's P5, 6, 7. Down the road, if somebody were to see this list, I believe she'd be on it when everyone has more access to her. So it's something to maybe plan ahead for, especially if you're planning on running Night Sisters. She's the real deal for territory battles.
Right. I mean, her Zeta ability with Plague Bearer gives her the ability to get 35% turn meter whenever any character falls below half health, and that means either an ally or an opponent. So if you defeat an opponent with a heavy attack or a hard-hitting attack, she's going to get 35% turn meter. If one of your characters gets hit hard and falls below 50% health, she's going to get a 35% turn meter. This really is great, especially with full Night Sister squad, because they constantly lose their health, especially if you have, let's say, a Night Sister zombie that continues to get resurrected every time you defeat Night Sister zombie. She's going to keep giving a turn meter to Mother Talzin, and that's why you see a lot of teams out there running a low-geared, low-starred Night Sister zombie because they don't want her to stay alive. You know, Night Sister Zombie will continue to resurrect, and every time she does, she's giving turn meter to Mother Talzin. So that's a really interesting Zeta, really great Zeta for Darkside territory battles, because again, it's going to help you, you know, survive the duration of the 4 waves. And you know, if you have a couple of, you know, other well-geared Night Sisters, and you're running, let's say, a Mother Talzin lead, or even if you're using her as a support character behind maybe an Asajj Ventress lead, you know, her getting that turn meter is going to be a huge asset. Now, if you are running a Mother Talzin lead, we would suggest, you know, Zetaing the leader ability as well. But you know, again, you're going to want to have a good full Night Sister squad for that. This Zeta, however, does make her you know, even more viable in, let's say, other squads. So, for example, if you're running sort of a mixed squad with CLS, R2-D2, and Mother Talzin, inserting a couple other characters, this Zeta will give you that turn meter, and you know, will help out all the time. I mean, anytime you can get a 35% turn meter boost, that's always a huge bonus. So, but that's number 4, Mother Talzin. Now, let's move on to number 3.
All right, number 3 is her partner in crime, or other knight. Actually, another knight. It's going to be the Asajj Ventress lead. When you put the Zeta on, it's going to grant turn meter every time your Night Sisters fall below 100% health. And the beauty about Night Sisters is all the health steal, the health, just the constant healing of each other. So basically, every time you get hit, you're going to gain turn meter, and then you just heal yourself right back up. With like Talia's basic, Daka's heal. You know, Asajj herself has a dispel move that heals everybody. A couple of them, you know, have 30, 40% health steal. Asajj has 55% health steal. So they're constantly staying at full health. Just every time, it's like every time they get hits, they get more turn meter. It really stacks up. Because I actually did this Zeta, and I had no problem with the P6 mission whatsoever. I mean, the Asajj Zeta lead, paired with, you know, well-geared Night Sisters, kind of equivalent to, like, the Resistance. Everyone's like, oh, Finn Zeta, 100%. Down the road, this is going to be the one they're just like, yes, Asajj Ventress Zeta, Darkside territory battles, you know, mandatory. I mean, it's that good. It really is good for the non-Empire mandatory missions.
Well, what's great about this is, I mean, you know, just in tandem with that Mother Talzin Zeta, I mean, it's just more turn meter manipulation for the Night Sisters. And don't they affect the opponent's turn meter in some way as well?
Yeah, I didn't even mention that. Yeah, the Night Sisters under Asajj lead get 30 speed. Let's not forget about that. 30 speed, 30% offense, and they gain 50, or they have a chance to remove 50% turn, or excuse me, 20% turn meter, just like Vader. It's a 50% chance.
That's kind of insane if you think about it, you know, because they're going to be getting 50% turn meter whenever they fall below 100% health. There's going to be heals involved, so they're going to, you know, get back to 100% health and then fall below 100% health a ton of times, especially with a Night Sister zombie, like we said, that keeps dying and reviving. And then they get 30 speed, 30 offense, and a 50% chance to remove 20% turn meter whenever they damage an enemy. So there's a 50% chance to remove turn meter. I mean, they're going to constantly be going, and they're going to constantly prevent you from going. And this was a problem I faced in territory wars. I mean, I lost a couple of squads to a Night Sister team because I thought that I was going to be able to go in there and wipe them out, and they just, you know, kept reducing the turn meter of my team. I never got a chance to go, and because they were well modded, you know, I was unprepared for that battle. So, I mean, again, you want to definitely make sure if you're, you know, putting together a Night Sister squad, that you consider the better of the two options between a Mother Talzin lead or an Asajj Ventress lead. And, you know, when you look at all the, you know, the pieces that are included in the package with this deal, the Night Sister Swiftness seems to be the better option. So, you know, 30% offense on top of the 30 speed, and then, you know, additionally, all that turn meter manipulation. I don't think you can go wrong.
Both ways, yeah, for both themselves and against the other team.
You can't go wrong with that. And that's Maurice's favorite character. I'm pretty sure he has an Asajj Ventress picture, you know, in a frame next to his bed that he blows a kiss to every night. So
I'll tell you what, Bo, I'll frame it right next to my first perfect Darkside. They're good, man. Like, they're really good. So,
yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Long term, this is very in-game stuff, but long term, this is a very good option. Night Sisters are something to maybe plan for that you should maybe do right away.
Yeah, I am basically. I feel like I gotta go for Night Sisters right away. I mean, because just for, not only for Darkside territory battles, but for territory wars, that whole Night Sister faction. I can't believe how much of a turnaround they've made. But yeah, they're almost a must-have at this point. So
you can Zeta, or excuse me, you can solo the Rancor with this lead too. So yeah, this is something that you can eat. It doesn't matter where you are in the game. Use that in an early game for like a Rancor solo. They do great damage with the tank. So this one applies all across the PvE content.
It's basically like a Zeta lead on steroids. So it's a great leader ability. All right, moving along, we're going to go on to rank 2. Again, we're looking at the top 5 Zetas for Darkside territory battles. And what's rank 2, Maurice?
Rank 2 is going to be General Veers. Now this is going to be one that's an extreme, like an instance of territory battles only. It's not as unique, and it applies to all the Imperial troopers. He's required. You have to use him. He's not a platoon, so it's got even extra value there, as you'll be forced to use him eventually when you have to platoon all your Empire. His Zeta's on his unique. He's the aggressive tactician. Whenever an enemy is defeated while Veers is active, Imperial troopers gain offense up for 2 turns. All right, you gain 50% turn meter and recover 10% protection. When Veers is active, Imperial trooper allies have a 15% crit chance. And that protection will really add up because you're facing 6 enemies in 4 rounds. So that's 24 ticks and 10% protection you'll get, right?
Mm-hmm. So
it adds up. The Imperial troopers are rather slow, so any turn meter manipulation you can give them is always a plus.
Yeah, and this is mainly because Veers is a required character, right? So
yes.
That's the thing, and that's why this leader would be ahead of, this unique would be ahead of, let's say, an Asajj Ventress, because the Night Sisters aren't a required team inside Darkside territory battles, so they're not a required faction. The most important factions there are going to be bounty hunters from some of those special missions, and then also General Veers and some of the other Empire characters, because they're required. So that's why Veers is so high on this list, because again, I look at the unique here and I think it looks great. Running let's say an Imperial trooper squad behind a Veers is pretty awesome, very interesting. I don't know about the arena viability, but it's ahead of this, let's say some of the other candidates on this list, because we're talking about Darkside territory battles, and Veers is a must-have. They basically said that you have to have a Gear 12 Veers, and you need to have a squad that works around him as well in order to clear some of the content. So that means the best team to work with him is going to be Imperial troopers. So you got to get up your TIE fighter pilot, your shore trooper, your storm trooper, your snow trooper, and any other troopers that they bring into the game, and also obviously Imperial probe droid, Colonel Stark, characters like that are going to be very important as well. But this guy is essential, and he's going to be a necessity in almost every phase of territory battles. So you got to get this guy Zeted and got to get him leveled up. It's pretty much going to be a necessity, kind of like a CLS is, or a Hoth Rebel Soldier or Hoth Rebel Scout is for light side territory battles. So, he's definitely a great character all around. Maybe as the Empire continues to increase its viability, he'll eventually have some viability in arena as well. All right, but number 1, that moves us to the top Zeta for Darkside territory battles. And what do you think that is, Maurice?
Well, I know what it is. It's the leader on Thrawn. And we're getting pretty familiar with this guy here. He's making, he seems to make his way onto every Zeta list we do. And what the Zeta does is it's going to add an element where the Empire allies gain. Every time they gain or lose a status effect, they recover 2% protection, which doesn't sound like that much. And of course, that's stacked on his regular leader ability. You know, the Empire's got 15% max protection, offense, 25%, and they get 20% turn meter whenever they resist a status effect or suffer a debuff. So anytime they shed or gain a debuff, they're going to get 20% turn meter. But the 2% doesn't sound like much. But and you know, some of these Empire missions that require just simply Empire, you can kind of tag team them with you know, like your shore troopers, your stormtroopers that give defense up, Royal Guard, just all these characters give a buff or two, and just spreading it all around. That 2% really adds up really quickly. And that can be an AOE protection regen, you know, and like where Royal Guard spams a defense up, everyone gets defense up plus 2% protection back. It just goes on and on and on. You'd be surprised at how high your protection bar can stay with a good team behind Thrawn.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you know, he's got a great synergy with the rest of the Empire characters. I mean, you know, he's a character that, you know, isn't necessarily you know, a character you want to use with, let's say, a mixed team. You don't want to use Grand Admiral Thrawn, you know, with, you know, Commander Luke Skywalker. You know, there's no reason to have a Grand Admiral Thrawn lead with you know, any other characters besides Empire characters, because they're the only ones that get benefits from it. But the thing is that the protection regeneration is such a huge bonus, especially with characters like Shore Trooper and Stormtrooper, for example, because they just continue to you know, regain protection, even though it seems like such an incremental amount over the course of the duration of the match. They're almost never going to lose protection, or they're going to lose very little, and they're going to continue to gain it back. So you're going to be spending the majority of the match, let's say, if you have a Stormtrooper and a Shore Trooper together on a team, just trying to dispel their taunts. And as you do, they're not going to lose any damage. They're not going to lose any protection. They're going to continue to regen that protection, and they're going to gain taunt again. So they're going to protect their team very well. And I mean, if you have the team modded well, it's going to make it you know, a nightmare for you with the rest of the squad. I mean, you can definitely use Grand Admiral Thrawn in Arena right now, and he's probably the best leader for Darkside territory battles, because you know, you're going to need Empire characters. There's going to be Empire only you know, battles in there. You're going to have to clear 4 waves, and that protection regen also helps as you get into the later waves of the territory battles, because, you know, you may lose some, you know, you may take some damage in, let's say, wave 3, but regen some of that protection so you're a little bit more prepared for wave 4. So it's a great option. It's a great leader ability, and again, almost a necessity for Darkside territory battles and territory wars, because territory wars you know, definitely needs or definitely can use a Zeta Thrawn lead. I mean, again, we faced Team Instinct in the first territory wars, and their entire they had entire sections of just Zeta Thrawn lead, and you know, again, you know, it's one of the better leaders in the game, and you know, it makes an entire faction better, you know, because with a Zeta Thrawn lead, you know, now, you know, all the Imperial troopers are good. Like I said, you can use Death Trooper, Krennic, you can use Shore Trooper, you can use Snow Trooper, you can use Stormtrooper. All these characters, TIE Fighter Pilot, are better behind a Grand Admiral Thrawn lead. So, yeah, I mean, that's the top 5 Zetas for Darkside territory battles. We do have an honorable mention, and that honorable mention is going to be Kylo Ren. Now, what are your thoughts on Kylo Ren, Maurice? Why is he in this list?
Well, it's just it's what he does. It's why he was a top, you know, considered maybe the best Zeta for a few months before Nihilus was released. Just massive damage, like, and he recovers protection equal to the damage that he does. So, I mean, you stack it with offense, you stack it with crit damage, however you decide to do it. He's going to give you tons of protection back to himself, and it makes him like a one-man wrecking crew. He can, especially in territory battles, your first order could be semi-undergeared for like the first few phases, and just Kylo can just carry you all the way to the victory. So it's good. And
yeah, I mean, you know, if you're at the end of a battle, or if you're trying to get through the last couple, let's say the last wave of territory battles. I mean, you could be in a situation where you have 2 or 3 opponents left. Hopefully they're not elites, but you can have 2 or 3 opponents left, and a Zeta Kylo can help you, pull it out, even if the rest of your team is depleted. Because of that protection regeneration, as long as he doesn't get stunned, he doesn't really take any damage from health affecting negative status effects. So he doesn't take much damage from exposes, or from health down, or from death mark, things like that. He doesn't feel those as much. I mean, he still does, but not as much as, let's say, you're a regular character. He does have decreased damage on health effects. So it's a great Zeta to have, also because of the protection regeneration and the amount of damage it does. The increasing the damage, 70% more damage, and also stunning the character is a great ability, because especially in Darkside territory battles, there's going to be times where you're facing a team that has, let's say, an elite, and you're going to want to take out some of the other characters first. So having this ability gives you the ability to stun that character and then work on the rest of the team, and just keep poking at that character to keep him from doing massive damage to your team while you take out the rest of his allies, and then focus on him afterwards. So again, it gives you the ability to kind of be strategic and place stuns on your opponents in Darkside territory battles where you need to, and also does a ton of damage and can help you finish out or round out the end of your battle if the rest of your team is depleted. So that's the top 5 Zetas for Darkside territory battles.
Yes, Master.